Hey everyone. So when we first start talking about economics, the big things we need to do is kind of figure out overall what is it, why do we study it, and to really do that, we need to kind of break it down to its core. So the first thing we need to look at is just the definition of what is economics. Now, when it comes down to economics and as human beings, one of our main core functions is that we have unlimited wants. There's a ton of things that we want to have. The problem with that is that we can't get everything we want. So we may want to have a house, a boat, a season tickets to the Eagles, vacation 5 times a year to another country. We may want all of that, but we don't exactly have the time or the money necessarily to do that. The reason why is that because of what we call scarcity. And so scarce resources is one of the things that really holds us back from achieving these and getting these unlimited wants. Now, these scarce resources can be broken down into time and money. So when it comes to time, we have 24 hours in a day. 8 of them are spent sleeping. Roughly 2 are spent eating and doing other activities you need to. Plus, you need to worry about getting things done around the house. If you have kids, you have to get that done. And so, because of that, we only have so many hours within a day. And so, for example, we may want to watch a movie, but we also may have to work. So you can't do both at the same time. Not always, at least. So that's one thing that kind of constrains us. The other thing that we have is scarce money. For the most part, people do not have money to buy everything they want. For most people, what it is you have a certain amount of money and you need to allocate that money and buy things and make, based on what you want. Now, because of we have these unlimited wants, but we have scarce resources and scarce time, we have to make choices. Now, these choices end up being made off of incentives. All right, so we're going to come back to that in a minute. So, what is economics? Economics looks at these terms. So, this is just kind of a quote of the basic definition of economics. Economics is a social science that studies the individuals, businesses, and governments and entire societies make as they cope with scarcity and the incentives that influence and reconcile these choices. So, really, just kind of as an overall sum, economics is about the choices we make and why we make them or what leads us to make them. Now, when we look at economics, there are two ways to look at it, in the small scale or in the large scale. So, microeconomics is about decisions. It's about decisions of individuals, people. Okay, what do they want to do? It's also about how businesses make decisions. So, people, they decide, and we'll talk a little more about this throughout the semester, what they want to buy, how much. Businesses, they need to decide what they want to sell. How much of it? Are they doing things correctly or not? Now, within microeconomics, we have these two groups, but it's not until they come together that decisions get made, that we figure out how much gets sold or why prices change. And so another part of microeconomics is how these groups interact in a market, how they come together and decisions get made. Microeconomics also looks at the role and influence of the government on these choices. And so, when we look at microeconomics, we're going to be looking at things like how much of a goods gets produced. Why does that much? We're going to look at things like prices. We're going to look at business decisions, how they determine what prices to sell at and how much to sell, and so forth. Macroeconomics, it looks at kind of the result of all these decisions that get made. And so macroeconomics looks at the performance of national and global economies. And so your macroeconomics is going to look at things like the unemployment rate. It's going to look at things like gross domestic product. It's going to look at income equality. And so these decisions that get made that we look at in microeconomics, they have an overall impact, and the impact ends up on the macroeconomic side. So it looks at things on a large scale, whereas micro looks at it on a small scale.